Welcome, Carm Capriato, the Service Aftermarkets Podcast Pioneer, with the gold standard of aftermarket business podcasts. Join me for Aftermarket Insights as we advance the aftermarket. And as always, know that you'll learn just one thing. Find us on your favorite podcast listening app and RemarkableResults.biz or on my YouTube channel. Hey everybody, Carm Capriato, Remarkable Results Radio. Good to have you all here. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be doing this, so we appreciate the support that you give us all the time. And if you earn your living communicating, like for example, if you're a leader of a business and or if you earn your living on the counter, we have a Remarkable Results Radio Toastmasters group. It meets virtually twice a month. And I have to tell you, I've learned so much about confidence in speaking, even though I do this kind of for a living. It's been a life changer for me. Find all the information. You could even come on as just a guest. You don't even have to join. RemarkableResults.biz/Toastmasters. Doug Brackett, welcome.
Hi, Carm. Thanks for having me on today.
Hey, good. Pro Vitals Consulting and Downtown Automotive in Nelson, British Columbia. Wow.
Yeah, that's right. We're an Auto Pro location here in the beautiful mountain town of Nelson, BC. About 10,000 people in the area. Amazing outdoor community.
How cool is that? Well, good for you. Glad to have you on here. Doug is passionate about a bunch of things in our industry, and I loved his story, and I want to get it told, and I want you to learn something from Doug. He's a process guy. I mean, man, it's like baking the eggs, and then I have a really cool fabulous pancake mix, right? And you got to follow it. It's not like cooking where you can experiment, baking or making things like that. You have to follow a process. You have to follow a recipe. And you can change it a little bit, but every once in a while, if you go too far left or go too far right, and that's what a good process is about. So Doug's all about processes. He's paperless. Oh, I think that's huge. There's a lot of people in that realm right now today, but I think a bunch of us need to consider getting there. And on top of all of that, he's all digital. And I don't really quite understand what that all means, but you're going to explain that to me and our great listeners. So let's start. It's been 4 years. You've been paperless.
Yeah.
Did you just say one day I'm going to save the planet and stop cutting down trees? Or was it just a smart move for the business?
It has to be a smart move for the business, Carm. I'm a big fan of process development and updating and change. And going paperless for us was all about solving challenges that we had in the business. I think if you're out there and you want to go fully digital paperless just for the sake of doing that, you're missing the boat. It comes down to they have to be components that make sense for moving the business forward.
Okay, describe that. How do we move the business forward if we go all paperless?
For us, one of the biggest challenges we were solving in our shop was that we have a very long, skinny shop. So our office is way up here at the front, and in between the office and the far wall of the shop are 6 bays. So that guy way down in bay number 6, we used to use the old pink sheet program. You had an issue with that work order that was going to cause a stoppage of work. You had to submit a pink sheet, and the advisor had to deal with that pink sheet before he did anything else. He could interrupt a customer conversation because the number one priority is what's going on the shop floor. That's what we've got to deal with right now. Going paperless and digital for us enabled internal communication chat and did it in a native piece of software that we were already using. And that made a world of difference to our interruption-based service advisor tasks, which is something I really want to talk about as we get going here.
Okay, good. Please remind me in case I go down a rabbit hole somewhere. Just bring me back, okay?
Well, there'll be a few rabbit holes between now and then, I think.
I'm sure there will. So you've just described to me a couple of things. Oh, but first, what was the software, the native software that you were already using?
Auto Vitals for our digital inspections. Internal chat. Huge game changer.
Okay, great. What you're describing to me is lean, long shop, all the steps that you can save by walking back and forth. Sooner or later, you say to yourself, look at how many steps I'm taking just to do an oil change. Look at how many steps I'm taking just to tell someone, 150 feet away that I need this or I need that or this thing broke, blah, blah, blah. And, you've got a customer issue at hand. Every time something like that happens, it's all about the customer, right?
Absolutely. And getting those streamlines done, it's amazing how saving seconds here and there adds up to minutes and hours in the long run, right?
Yeah. So Doug not only owns the shop and he's got all that great experience, he owns ProVitals Consulting. And I guess one of the things that you love to do is to help people improve their processes. And everything I'm hearing from you has everything to do with processes. And I've always said processes and system win wars. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. And it kind of really hit me there when you were going through the introduction and called me a process guy. That's the second time in the last few weeks that I've got that label. And it's not necessarily how I see myself, I think. I see myself as always looking to improve and develop what we're doing. I've got some really good theory behind processes that I think gets missed some of the time. And some of the time as shop owners, we're looking for process to solve issues that we need to approach from other angles, whether that's culture or software implementations. So my consulting company is pretty new. We really just launched in January of this year. I primarily work with some auto pro shops. I'm pretty specific about the software that I know. But what we really do that's unique in this environment of shop coaching is specializing on software integrations. So how we can get them working together.
Oh my God, stop it right there. I remember being with a bunch of shop owners and I asked them the question, would you pay handsomely if someone from your SMS company would come out and spend a week with you, holding your hand, getting the right switches turned on and show you if you do this, you need to do this internally. There's this whole systems process thing. I mean, the human interaction to software, just because oh my God, I got this really neat, new, cool feature, but we may have to do something different inside the company to make that feature have value to us. And I love to hear what you just said. I want to go out and help them take it. I'll bet you the people are only using their SMS to 25 to 30% of its abilities or capacity.
Absolutely agree with you. And we've got to realize that so many of these software companies build features, they don't really build how to use those features to effectively run and manage a shop. So we've got to really dig up those best practices. Where our industry, I feel, has a pretty good understanding of what a bunch of those best practices are, but we've got to be able to tailor our processes to meet those best practices and work within the constraints of the software that we're running and making sure that we're using the software the way it's anticipated to be used. What I see all the time, and the reason I think I have a consulting job is because as shops have evolved and developed and built new processes, and as software has developed, we have shops that try to take their old process and jam it into new software or rebuild a process that their software doesn't account for. So they're working outside of what the software is supposed to be doing.
Got it.
I see it all the time.
I want to narrow down something. What I think I heard you say is I'm really good at the software that I have that I use, and I want to teach people how to take this to the nines, if you will. So let's let's expose what this is. What's the software? What is it that you are really good at? Because if people are listening and say, wow, I've got that software, I've got those tools, I've got this DVI, I got all of this, maybe Doug can help me get myself to, how about this, full feature? Wouldn't that be cool? Says, oh my God, I hired Doug to make me full feature. I love that concept. What's your SMS?
So we use Protractor.
Okay.
For our SMS. We use AutoVitals for our digital inspection and workflow management.
Okay.
And then we add in AutoOps as an online scheduling tool, 360 payments to help us with payment processing.
Okay. So what I love about this is it almost reminds me of being boutique. And boutique is, you go to a boutique wedding dress place, you're only going to get wedding dresses there. If you go to Doug and you got Protractor, AutoVitals, and AutoOx at 360, he's your guy to get you full featured. If this could be a total trend in the industry, that an individual takes what they have done with all of their bolt-ons or add-on features, and they come out and teach you how to do the best you can. I mean, wow. When you go to a shop and do the research and you see what more that they can do, does it turn these companies around? I mean, can they save money? Can they grow volume? Can they improve ARO? Can they make a place lean? Help me understand the value people can get with a person like you, full featured.
I think there's a ton of value there, but I want to paint a picture for you first, Carm.
All right.
And this is something that was at the core of why I wanted to start doing consulting. We have tens of thousands of shops across North America. This really came to me as I became an auto pro 2 years ago and started really networking with a larger group of shops. We've got over 600 auto pros in Canada. They are some of the best run shops up here north of the border. Many of the shops are vetted before they're allowed to be an auto pro to make sure that they fit with the culture of being an auto pro. Now, I talk to so many auto pros and everybody has the same issues, right? Everybody faces the same challenges in our industry. They're a little bit different from shop to shop, but we constantly hear the same stuff over and over again. You talk to a lot of shop owners, you know what their regular complaints are, and everybody is looking to solve those complaints by themselves, to develop those processes on their own. In a vacuum, maybe 10% of them have some coach, outside help. I've worked with Murray Voth from RPM training for over 10 years before there was RPM training. He's helped guide me through a ton of process. He teaches concepts. How to apply those concepts is up to the shop owner. So we've got all these shops looking to solve the same problem by approaching it completely differently. Imagine what it would be like if we standardized that approach. If we got everybody in all the shops on board with, here's how we're going to do it. Would that elevate us as an industry altogether?
Yeah, I sure do. I mean, God, imagine a shop owner looking through their software on their very own or seeing the brand newest release that came out. Everybody wants a neat new feature and they integrate it and they put it there and they say, wow, this looks like fun. So they go in and they flip the switch that says they can now do this thing, this feature. And then they say, now what do I do? Just because they flip the switch doesn't mean that they have to fix, maybe, very possibly, the way they do business.
And what does this mean for our staffing, our employees who rely on us?
There's a learning curve.
Absolutely.
There's an acceptance and a learning curve.
You know, it's so much harder to relearn and change a process than it is to learn a new one from the beginning.
Well, that's a powerful comment. Do you encourage the owner, if he wants to create a policy or a procedure from scratch because he doesn't have one, or he wants to update one, that his people help him do it?
It's got to be a team effort. And this is one of the things where I really believe that managing process change is one of the biggest things that sets aside really, really accomplished shops and really well implemented shops. It's been their ability to work through process change over a time period. So let's get back around to, what does this mean for me as a consultant? What you're getting is all this knowledge and past process change to give you a clear path forward, where we work to bring the software usage within a standardized realm, identify the components that are out of the ordinary, and providing some really good standard operating procedures, SOPs, that have been developed and worked with over a long period of time to get tuned in. So we're shortcutting your process change development.
Stop for a moment. Explain out of the ordinary.
Using the software in a way that was never intended.
I love that. I just love that.
Okay, so let's use an example. We've got work orders for our customers, right? Every shop uses a work order system, whether it's as old as being in QuickBooks or something modern and feature laden like Protractor. But then they've got one work order that is just for the washing and detailing of a specific fleet's vehicles and lists all the different vehicles that they did a wash and detail on, and they leave the work order open. It was done that way to solve some kind of problem that they had, but it is far outside of how the software is expected to be used.
These are almost like intelligent hacks.
Or process hacks that shouldn't exist.
Shouldn't
Loopholes,
exist,
maybe.
but they solve a particular problem in a certain situation for a specific customer at a moment in time.
But I don't want to see them. I want to see compliance. I want to show that there's a reason why this is working outside of what the software expects, that there is a correct way to do that, and the benefits of doing it as anticipated will outweigh the short-term pain that was solved by coming up with the workaround.
What you're saying is it was brilliant, but sloppy.
Yeah.
You got me thinking here really heavy.
Part of the concept here then, and let me keep getting you on this thinking path here, is one of the things I really want to chat with you today is about future capabilities in our industry. I hope everybody out there realizes there's some serious tools coming down the pipe that are outside of anything we've ever used before. There's capabilities in our digital world now that we couldn't fathom 3 years ago. There's going to be a point where we have to decide as shops, what are we going to do with those? How are we going to use these? There's going to be a whole nother round of process development and implementation.
Because of AI as an example?
Absolutely. I think that's the really big one. It's lurking on the periphery of a lot of things that we do today. It's a lot more in use than I think we realize. I'm not convinced it's always used for the better. And I think there's a whole bunch of development around where it should and shouldn't be used, what it is good at and what it isn't going to be good at. But it's got the capability to revolutionize a lot of day-to-day process in our shops. And if we're going to look at these new implementations and how we can bring new, very complex tools into the mix, we've got to have some kind of standardization about how we go about the rest of our work. Standardizing operations between shops opens up so much capability of where we're going to go moving forward.
Hey, AAPEX 2024 registration is now open at AAPEX.com. Now, AAPEX has an incredible value for the service professional, shop owner, technician, and service advisor. Joe's Garage is your place to hang out with 10 working bays and real live working conditions. You'll find special seminars on Audi, VW, BMW, Mercedes, Tesla, under-the-hood diagnostics, advanced drivability, ADAS calibration, transmission training from ATRA, and more. Business and sales training on mastering organizational skills, time management, leading your team, and driving profits, among others. This year, the training courses are some of the best offered ever with the industry's best and brightest trainers and coaches. This year's AAPEX 2024 will have more product demos, trending training, marketing and social media support to help you grow your career, sales, and profits. Remember, if you earn your living in the aftermarket, then AAPEX is the expo for you. Continue listening as we bring you the latest from AAPEX 2024 and save the date, November 5th through the 7th. Don't hesitate. Go to AAPEX.com. Hey, let's face it. Your shop management system is the single most important tool in your shop, period. NAPA Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the industry's best, most comprehensive SMS. Now, it all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you need to run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice, and having local representation is a huge plus. Customizing Trax to your business, whether you're a one-person shop or a large multi-bay or multi-location company, a representative consults with you to help optimize your shop's workflow, efficiency, and profitability. Trax always has the flexibility to do business how you need to do it, which means it can also grow as your business grows. And unlike the other guys, we'll be there for you after installation with the best training and support in the business. Yes, a learning management system tailored to each role in your company. Simply put, Trax was designed and built for shop owners just like you. Visit us on the web at NAPA Trax, that's NAPATRACS.com. Hey, ever wonder how your labor rate compares to your market and state? You now have a site where you can confidentially upload your rate and see other labor rates published in your market. LaborRateTracker.com is an important site to know about. Currently, the database has over 1,000 shops participating and growing every day. But there's more to setting your rates than finding out what others charge. You should look at the labor rates in your state and town to gain a complete picture of the labor rate landscape. Hey, it's easy. Get market intelligence like never before at LaborRateTracker.com. Don't you see a level of creativity in using some of these new tools? Or are you saying, hey, they're there, let's confine them, let's put some structure around those tools because we don't want to go off of a deep end by using it the wrong way? Or are you just saying, listen, I'm good enough and smart enough and see the bigger picture. Let me show shops how AI can benefit them?
I think that's a tricky question for sure. We've got to let people
play in the sandbox.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've got to figure this out along the way. I just want to make sure that we are set up for success from the beginning is where I feel like this needs to go. And I think we'll have some real big challenges in implementation if we focus on the outlier cases rather than focus on the meat and potatoes of the capabilities.
Yeah, it's almost like we almost need an AI 20 group. Think about that. I see you smiling a little bit, where there's 20 people that are heavily playing with AI. And I don't mean playing as a disrespectful name. I mean, it's just, we're kind of exploring, having fun with it, seeing how well it works. We tried this, it didn't work, blah, blah, blah. And everybody gets together and constantly shares what's working. And over the incubation of these, if you will, quote unquote, brainiacs that are getting together, failing forward, learning new things, the AI potential capabilities that we have hones themselves. If we were all segmenting 200,000 shops all playing with AI on their very own, you talked about an ugly alien monster at the end of the day, right? I love your point. Your point is this: maybe the first 20 group, AI 20 group, you can pull together.
I love the idea. I love it. Who's on board?
I don't know. I am. I just want to be in the meeting and hover, take notes. Invite me.
Designated secretary. You're right there, Carm.
I can do that. I can do that because there's so much to learn. To me, I've always been, I'm a perpetual student. I love to learn, and technology amazes me. And I think it does to all of our top 25% shop successful guys that have come from some of the darker areas of their life to learn how to run a really great company, organization, high culture, great people, making money, paying people well, never sitting down on their laurels, never laying back in the chair. The minute you go to take a nap for 15 minutes, you lose. And to figure out where are we going to constantly, I always call be bold, italic, always forward, thick, heavy, going forward. And I think that this whole idea of an AI 20 group is phenomenal because our learning curve exponentially, did I say that right? Exponentially grows so much faster than if we were doing it alone.
Absolutely. And I think we would even be short-sighted if we only included our industry in this. There's more to it.
Now there's the out-of-the-box thinker that I know you are. Who would we add? What other industries could we add?
I haven't even thought that far ahead yet.
Ooh, I want to be on that Zoom call.
We've got to look at who already has some components in place. So I feel like this would be a great time to share with you, Carm, the really basic little AI implementation that we're using in the shop right now.
Great. I knew we were going to go down a rabbit hole. This is great.
I've been sharing this with other shops in our network. I want to throw this out there for everybody as something that is available to you and relatively straightforward and pretty easy to set up and use. So the specific tool that we use has been OpenAI's ChatGPT. It is pretty impressive that it continues to get better and better in pretty short time frames. Mm-hmm. We just had GPT-4 released with a lot of added capabilities to it.
Yeah.
What we use ChatGPT for is for rewriting diagnostic notes from our technicians. So we've all seen technician notes as they work through a diagnostic with test result maybe some decent language and sentence structure in there, maybe some spelling errors, maybe not, all coming down to a clear recommendation. We need to repair this wire, replace this component, something like that, right? We built a custom GPT that we trained with specific language and instructions to take those diagnostic technician notes, turn them into customer-centric language, explain concern, cause, and correction, and provide educational material about why this repair needs to be done.
I've heard this going on, even from a service advisor's perspective, into getting those words right in this document that will be forever attached to this customer and or that job. The part that I love about this, I really do, I'm such a proponent for the professionalism of our industry and big language shift, you know this. And to be able to stop having that mom and pop style attitude, but very, very professional. And so much of it is the language that we use, and the language is our words. And if we can get ChatGPT to just put a bow on our words, I mean, not adding anything more, but just taking what we have and put a common and in there, or make a whole sentence out of something, I think it reads so much better to the customer, the client.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Now you said a really key thing in there, and I don't know if this was on purpose or not, but not changing our words, just adding to them, right? Putting the final flourish on it. Some of the things that AI is really good at is that language component, right? It is updating and professionalizing some language. And trust me, part of the custom instructions is professional language. Not overly complicated, something that can appeal to a 10th grade education. We're not talking down to our customers. We're not talking up to our customers. We want to make sure it's at a level that they can readily understand.
Yeah, it's clear, it's concise.
And that can be varied. What we don't want to use the AI for is making things up. And this is where you've heard about so many of the pitfalls. The lawyer that cited a case that the AI gave him that it made up.
Yeah. Sooner or later, you get called on a carpet for that kind of stuff, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely. But you have to know that's even happening, right? Which is where we do have to have checks and monitors on this. It can't just be a copy paste kind of situation. We need to know that the tool we've built and developed and are using is going to be over 99.9% accurate, because we own those mistakes, not the AI.
So you got this business running so well without you having to be in the moment, that you're now moving your brain power, your bandwidth to other areas, right? Because when I talked to you before this call a couple of weeks ago, you're committed to helping the industry. I mean, you want in moving us forward and up. And so when you looked at ChatGPT and you says, wow, how well this could work inside of my own business, but how it also can help the industry.
Absolutely. And I think the key piece there, I'm in this for us as well, too. Not just us as an industry, but for us as a shop.
Sure.
Every client that I take on and every person that I work with teaches me something.
That's exactly how it should be. Yeah, that's exactly how it should be. I've done over 1,000 plus, maybe 2,000 episodes between all of our different show brands, and I learn something new every interview. I think this is why I love what I do, because since I'm a perpetual student, people are always teaching me, and I bring my curiosity to the interview, which is why I think people hear me either opine on something or ask some really good questions.
When you love what you do, you never go to work a day in your life.
I know. And I got to get the grass cut today. When will I find time for that?
They make robot lawnmowers.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, wow.
If we're on the automation kick here anyway, then that's worth mentioning. Your grass could be getting cut right now.
All right, so let's brainstorm on this thing. I get a robot lawnmower with ChatGPT, and I communicate with it through Wi-Fi, and I say, look, I'm looking for a fairway-like lawn. Please go make that happen.
No, let's take this to the next level. The modern world, your digital footprint exists out there.
Sure.
The AI knows you like golfing. It knows what you want your lawn to look like. Delivers without your interaction.
Oh my. Oh, this is scary. This is scary good, by the way.
You got to think another level deeper. And I think that's where we're at right now with AI implementations, software in our automotive businesses. We are looking at the surface and we've got to dig deeper.
Okay, you just hit me hard over the head again. If it knows our footprint, if it knows so much about us, and it's Mrs. Smith's vehicle that's in here, she's on her third BMW, and we're fixing it and we're doing things for it. Could ChatGPT help us understand more about Mrs. Smith? Or is that invasion of privacy right now?
There's a lot in the industry over who owns the vehicle data.
Oh,
the
yeah.
manufacturers want to say they do. There's a fleet analysis company based out of Ontario. I haven't had contact with them for several years, working on predictive analysis. We know the mass airflow sensor on this particular vehicle tends to fail at 160. We're going to make sure it gets into a shop at 140 and get that changed. AI analysis, the component that is available now is dealing with large databases, right? It's the ability to analyze a massive amount of information, come up with really good inferences from that information, right? As automotive shops, we generate so much information, right? Thousands of repair orders, tens of thousands of actual repaired jobs just in one shop. Using an AI tool to analyze and look at all that data, I think we can come up with and streamline a huge portion of what we take for the typical service advisor work. Estimate an air filter on this F-150. They've got to go and look up labor. They've got to look up parts. They've got to order it from the supplier. These are mundane tasks that are entirely accessible to an AI implementation.
Who's working on this?
Let's find out.
Okay. I believe it's being worked on as we speak. I don't have any proof of any companies that are working on this. But if any company in our industry that is leaning over their skis and trying to be the first at anything, or a client like yours picks up the phone or goes to the featured request section of their SMS, I'll guarantee you there's been 159 requests for I'd like AI to help me do this, and I need a one button to do that. And I believe those challenges are sitting today in the technology people that are forward process thinking about because every SMS comes out with this really beautiful features. And then everybody says, oh my God, this is better, you got to change. And then the next software company comes out with almost some neat new ones. Oh, you got to change, you got to go. And everybody's leapfrogging everyone. One of the beauties of our great industry is that we have this going on, that there are people wanting to pay attention to improved features. And if anyone would not look at the power of AI, even if they write their own software to do their own analysis, they call it their blankety blank as AI. It doesn't have to be ChatGPT. It doesn't have to be out on the outside, but take the algorithm mentality and bring it inside of the data that you currently own. Scary good.
So this is a call to reach out. We've got opportunity here to be on the bleeding edge of what our industry is doing and where it's going to be.
Boy, isn't that the truth? And let's go back to this full-featured concept, which I absolutely love. And I would say that there's a ton of shop owners raising their hand right now that says, I really want to be able to find out what my software can really do, find out what each of these new features that come on board that I can turn on, and what positive effect does it have for my client and my people and our processes, and how streamlined we are and how much smarter we can be and how much more money I can make. All the promise times that I have and all the CRM issues and all of this comprehensive, it's almost like there needs to be a chief technology officer inside the company. And I know you can't afford a CTO. The mindset is, could Doug be my CTO? And maybe it's not the CTO, it's maybe the chief practicality officer, CPO. 3 CPO. Oh, I got it. and 3 CPO or the C3PO comes in and says, listen, we could do so much more internally through process, through systems, through speed, by just taking this software that you currently have and teaching you a lot more about the stuff that's under the covers you have yet to unpack.
Tuning and tweaking. I am a self-professed nerd, Carm. I'm lucky because I get to bridge the gap between being a technician. I'm a Red Seal technician, business owner for 17 years, and I've worked the front counter lots. I've had to learn a lot about people, but my ability to understand and implement software with the rest of those considerations in place is what sets me apart.
Yeah,
it's what gives me a unique set of skills that I can bring to any shop running these pieces of software. The challenge that our industry has is there is no one piece of software that does all these things really well. And while each piece of software talks to each other, they don't understand each other. Nobody at Protractor really gets what AutoVitals is trying to do and why they're doing what they do. Nobody at AutoVitals really understands the little ins and outs of Protractor setup and usage, right?
Yeah, but it takes a nerd like you to figure it out.
We've got to put it all together. Big shout out to Murray Voth for teaching me a lot about my business. And one of the lines that I constantly gave him as we were challenging his teachings was that shop owners are anarchists. We all want to do things our own way. So how do we teach this industry? That might not be the ideal approach. Do things your own way, have your own pieces, but here's a core group of values and processes that need to be consistent no matter what. They've got to be consistent. You've got to inspect every vehicle. When you inspect every vehicle, every recommendation, you've got to estimate that. And everything you estimate, you've got to present to the client. It's our duty as professionals in this industry to educate and inform our clients about everything on their vehicle. Not the one thing they brought it in for, not what we want to educate them on because it's, work that we like doing, but the whole thing. That's our duty. You start doing that and you realize that there's so much work out there on vehicles that doesn't get performed, that there's absolutely no competition to be had in this industry. Every single shop will be as absolutely busy as they want to be if they just take care of the people that come in their door. There's that much work out there.
Yeah. I want to change the name of your consulting company. Is that okay? Can I offer you a suggestion?
Give it to me.
I'm taking some liberties here. In fact, it's also the name we should title this episode. Ready?
Yeah.
Nerd for Hire. I mean, it's not as sexy as Pro Vitals Consulting, but then you could say in parentheses, Nerd for Hire. And to the point, we are in technology hurricane, whirlwind. Every day there's something new. ChatGPT 4. Who? Anybody remember version 1? Probably not. Because 1 through 3 came so fast.
Yeah.
And I'll bet you 5 is already done and just ready for, let me see, let's get these people to play with 4 for a while. And there's so much, it's at the speed of light. We know it. We don't go to training. Training for our technology specialists. I mean, come on. It's the most critical, important thing, the platforms and EVs and all that stuff going on. I mean, it's a vibrant, exciting time to be in this industry. If you don't want to pay attention, nothing matters. I don't care about training. You will be irrelevant. And we've been saying that for many, many years, but I think it's going to accelerate. The irrelevancy of an individual not wanting to get ahead is going to really, it's going to really have an effect on who's left standing. And the people that are left standing will start to get weeded out if they don't do, based on some of the things you were saying, Doug, and that is to stay ahead of the curve, knowing everything that you have to have, become full featured in the software that you're using, learn about neat new things, and get a nerd for hire to help you, or at least pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Do you know if my software can do that? Oh, God, yeah, new release. You didn't hear about it. And we can continue to blossom our business through all the uses of technology. And then, wow, I just thought of this one. Here we have all this really neat, new, cool technology, but we as the carbon unit, the human being, has to be accommodating, learn it and understand it and fit it into our process and policy. Have the greatest client experience on record. Anyway, I'm off my soapbox.
I'm right there with everything you just said, Carm. Absolutely beautifully put, right? There is so much opportunity. There's so much opportunity for what we have going on as an industry. I think the biggest challenge we have to realizing that opportunity is to work together.
Boy, and that is so true. And let me just take my little soapbox again, because you said there's 200,000 different ways of doing things. The anarchy concept of my way is better, so get out, which
and
is
it's
why.
Better just because it's my way.
Yeah, that's right. And, I'll never go out and I'll never join a 20 group. I'll never want to share any of my stuff with anyone because it's the best. And that's that secret sauce. I'll never share my secret sauce. But the beauty of the success we've seen in 20 groups and in coaching groups, the most glorious success is people get together, they share their ideas. Someone says, wow, love that. Got to do it. Can I steal that? Absolutely. They walk away with the idea, they bring it home, and it takes on a completely different feel and look because there's an environment, there's a culture, there's a people, all this stuff matters. And it takes that grape, if you will, of an idea and puts it into a new barrel, different kind of barrel in a different environment with different temperatures and different cultures. And what comes out the spigot is yours. It's beautiful, it's unique, but it's nothing like the grapes you stole from someone or the idea that you took. And that's part of what I love about being able to share and not be afraid to give, because giving and getting is all part of what growth and success is all about. Anyway, off the box, I can't tell you this was a great episode. I had a blast. You got to come back, bring us an update somehow. Tell us about all these great things that you're doing as a self-professed nerd in our business. And hell, we never even talked anything about the shop. About your great shop. All right. Doug Brackett from Pro Vitals Consulting and, of course, Downtown Automotive in Nelson, BC. Any final words?
You got to leave people hanging. We'll be back for more, right?
Okay. I love your concept. Wow. Neat stuff. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks, Carm.